So we will start with a simple problem. An 8-pole DC generator has a simplex wave-wound armature containing 32 coils of 6 turns each. Its flux per pole is 0.06 Weber. The machine is running at 250 RPM. The induced armature voltage is. So always whenever you are solving the problem, first write down whatever information is given. So here number of poles is given as 8. Then 32 coils of 6 turns each, right? So that means one coil is going to be like this. This will be in one armature slot, this will be in another armature slot. Now each of the coils has 6 turns. That means like this is second turn, this is third turn. Like that 6 turns are there, okay? From this you can get the number of conductors. In each coil there will be 2 conductors. But now each coil is given as having 6 turns. So 2 into 6 will be the number of conductors for each coil, and 32 such coils are there. So this is going to be 2 into 6 into 32. Okay. Then next, what other information is given? Flux per pole is given as 0.06 Weber, and the speed is given as, in N it is given revolution per minute, which is 250 RPM. So now what is the induced armature voltage? So we want to find out E, generated voltage. So E expression we have just found out, it is phi ZPN by 60A. So from here you have the flux per pole is given as 0.06, Z we have just found out, P is 8, N is given as 250 RPM, 60A. A is what? It is A is equal to 2 for a wave wound armature, and it is equal to the number of poles for a lap winding. So here it is given here as wave wound. So A is going to be 2. This is the missing information that we didn't write before. Okay. So now we have all of the information. This is 0.06 into 2 into 6 into 32 into 8 into 250 divided by 60 into 2. So if you calculate, you're going to get 384 volt. Next also we have a simple and direct question. 2 magnetic poles revolve around a stationary armature carrying 2 coils C1 C1 dash, C2 C2 dash as shown in figure. Consider the instant when the poles are in a position as shown in figure. Which of the following is correct with respect to the polarity of the induced EMF at this instant? Okay. So now the only difference is, in a DC machine what happens is the poles are stationary while the armature is rotating. But here it is a stationary armature. That means this armature is stationary, the poles are rotating. Now in this case, what will be the polarity of induced EMF? If EMF is produced at all, okay? If it is produced, what is the polarity? Okay? So we will see how to do this. So I will tell you from the very basics. Whenever there is a moving charge, let us say this is a charge plus Q, it is moving with a velocity B, and there is a magnetic field, then it will experience a force. So the force is written as QV cross B. Okay. So that means the velocity should be perpendicular to the magnetic field, only then it will experience a force. So when you take a conductor, what will happen? A conductor is now going to have charges. If the conductor is moving, then it will experience force once again, provided that the velocity is perpendicular to the magnetic field. Now where will EMF come into the picture now? When you take a conductor, all of the positive charges will get accumulated on one side because of the force that they are experiencing, and negative charge will be accumulated on the other side. Essentially what is happening? There is only movement of electrons, no positive charges. So the electrons will move and accumulate in one direction wherever they are moving away from. Their positive charge will be present. It will create a positive charge. And this direction we can get from the cross product rule. It is very simple to apply. What is it? Let us say the velocity is in this direction and the magnetic field is in this direction. And what you have to do? Take your right hand and you align your 4 fingers in the velocity direction. Okay. And you have to wind your fingers towards this direction. What is the direction of the thumb? It will go into the plane, right? So when it goes into the plane, it means that the force that is experienced by the charge is into the plane. Okay. So now what will be the direction of current? It will be same as the direction of force, because force essentially tells you which direction the positive charge is going, which is nothing but current. Okay. So now we have here two coils, right? C1, C1 dash, C2, C2 dash. These are the conductors of the same coil. Okay. So now we want the current direction and the EMF for both these coils. So we will take one by one. First, if you take C1, C dash. Okay. So if you redraw C1 and C dash, this is C1 dash and this is C1. Now the poles are moving in this direction. So effectively, what will be the relative velocity if you consider the south and north poles to be stationary and instead the conductors are moving? Okay, so then what will it be? S, the south pole is moving in this direction with respect to C1 dash. So that means if this is now held stationary, C1 dash should move away in the opposite direction, right? So this is the direction of velocity for C1 dash. Similarly, if this is moving in this direction, this is in this direction, C1. Okay, so then the velocity for C1, if you take, the velocity is in this direction. Now what about the magnetic field direction? The magnetic field direction will always be from the north to south pole. Okay, so this is the magnetic field direction. So if you align your forefingers, the right hand forefingers in this direction and you wind them in this direction, then what will be the direction? It will be, direction of force will be out of the plane. So that means current is also out of the plane. So for C1, this is the direction of current, induced EMF. Okay. Then what about C2? It will just be opposite because velocity will be in the opposite direction. This will remain same. So the force will be into the plane. So this is going to be the direction of induced EMF for C1, C1 dash. Okay. Now what about, this is C1, C1 dash. Now what about C2, C2 dash? Here what happens is, this is C2, C2 dash. This is the armature on which they are present. Now the south pole is moving in this direction, north pole is moving in this direction. Okay. So for this armature, the direction of rotation, if south and north poles are kept stationary, what will it be? This is south, north. So the relative velocity is that if S moves this side, then the armature is moving this side, right? That means it is going in the anti-clockwise direction. So if you keep south and north poles stationary, then this will go in the clockwise direction. Okay. So then C2 dash, direction of velocity will be in this direction, and C2 velocity of direction of velocity is in this direction. Okay. But you can see that the magnetic field is in this direction. So that means the velocities of both the conductors are parallel to the magnetic field. Therefore, no EMF is produced. EMF is force is produced only when they are perpendicular. Okay. So no EMF is produced in C2, C2 dash. So here in the options you have no EMF in C2 will be correct. So out of these two options, in C1 we have seen the EMF was out of the plane. So the option is A. The next question we have, a 4-pole separately excited wave wound DC generator is rated for 230 volt and 5 kilowatt at a speed of 1200 rpm. If the same armature coils are reconnected to form a lap winding, what is the rated voltage and power at 1200 rpm of the reconnected machine if the field circuit is left unchanged? So here there is one term, separately excited, which we will discuss about later. Okay. To solve this problem, you don't need to understand it. Okay. So what is given? The number of poles is given as 4. First, it was the armature conductors coils were connected in the wave format. In this case, the voltage, the rated voltage is given as 230 volt and the power is given as 5 kilowatt. So power is nothing but voltage into current. Okay, so this is the conditions for wave wound. Now what other information is given? The other information that we have is the speed, which is 1200 RPM. Okay, and this is in the wave case. Now what about lap case? In this case we have to find out what is the rated voltage and the power, given that speed is remaining at 1200 RPM and also the flux is unchanged. Okay, so now we have seen the expression for the EMF. This is given by phi ZPN divided by 60A. Now what are the factors that are remaining same in both the wave case and the lap case? The flux is remaining constant, number of conductors is not changing, number of poles is not changing, speed is not changing. What is the only parameter that is changing? This A here. A is equal to 2 for the wave winding and it is equal to 4, that is the number of poles, that is number of poles for lap winding. Okay, so E1, if you take this as E1, this is E2, P1 and P2. So E1 by E2 is given by 1 by A1 divided by 1 by 2, because induced EMF is inversely proportional to the parameter A. So here you are going to get E2 is equal to A1 E1 divided by A2. Okay, so this is going to be A1 into 2 by 4. So it will be half of the initial voltage. So this will be 115 volts. Now next is power. So in the wave winding, if you draw the armature windings, it will have two parallel paths and this will be the current that is being generated, right? So here it will be I by 2 and this will be I by 2. So both of them together they will give I current. What about in the case of lap winding? There will be 4 parallel paths. Okay. Now this current, we will take this as I1. So this is I1 by 2, I1 by 2. If you take this as I2, then each of the currents here will be I2 by 4. Okay. Current will be divided equally because they are all identical coils. Now what is the voltage across this? This is E1. The voltage across this is E2. Okay. So now the power P1 is equal to E1 into I1. Here power P2 is equal to E2 into I2. So now we know P1, we have to find P2. Here E1 and E2 are known. There is no information about I1 and I2, right? So how will you find it out? This resistance of each winding is R. And what will be the resistance in the lap case? It will be R by 2, right? So now each of the current if you take in the wave winding, I1 by 2 you can write as E1 by R. In the lap winding case, I2 by 4 is equal to E2 by R by 2. Okay. So from here you are going to get I1 is equal to 2 E1 by R. I2 you are going to get 8 E2 by R. But E2 in terms of E1 is E1 by 2. So you are going to get 8 into E1 by 2 divided by R, which is 4 E1 by R. Okay. So this is going to be 2 times of the current I1. So now you can find out the power. P1 by P2 is equal to E1 I1 by E2 I2. So this is going to become, you can write in terms of E1 and I1. So E1 I1 will remain as it is, E2 will be E1 by 2 and I2 will be 2 I1. So this is simply 1 if you simplify. So that means there is no change in the power. P2 is equal to P1, which is 5 kilowatt.